Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Disappointing. Honestly, it was a split. You would think that you would be satisfied with a split in a doubleheader with the New York Yankees, considering the circumstances, but it's disappointing. With the way that Aaron Nola pitched in Game 2, you should have won that baseball game. They were going up against the Yankees bullpen. That was a bullpen game. While you have the dumpster fire Phillies bullpen literally destroying everything. The problem is, what happened in the first game? It was a big snowball effect that affected Hector Neris and his ability to go in the top of the 7th inning once Aaron Nola got yanked. And you can argue that Aaron Nola should have not have even been yanked from the game. 12 strikeouts, 6 innings, 88 pitches. He definitely had more left in the tank. Now, Joe Girardi post-game said that it was all about player safety because of the fact that he only threw once besides this time. This was his second start. He was thinking about player safety, so he yanked him and pulled him. But I think you keep Aaron Nola out there. His fastball was moving. It was electric. His off-speed pitches, curveball, changeup, a beautiful sight. Talk about the swing and misses. And this Yankees lineup is legit. I understand that it's a little bit wonky compared to what they normally throw out there in a standard one-game setting, but come on now. It does feel a little underwhelming because I thought they had an opportunity to win 2 games against the New York Yankees today, and that would have been sweet. But instead, you get the split. Look, it's not the worst case scenario in the world, but with Zack Wheeler and Aaron Nola like that, with the game sitting there, it was a tied ball game in the top of the 7th, and for it to get destroyed the way that it did with the bullpen and Tommy Hunter and allowing hits and not even recording an out and letting up runs and hitting Gary Sanchez, oh, you gotta be kidding me. You just knew it was going to happen. Now, we'll talk about both of the games today. Before we do, this episode of Sports Talk with Broads is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. Their solar program helps eliminate your electric bill completely. They offer flexible financing solutions such as $0 down. There's no risk and no need for investment. Check out their information. Their link is in the description. Let's start with the first game. All right, they win the first game 11-7. And Zack Wheeler pitched 7 innings. He was very strong. In the beginning of the game, he had to face some adversity, whether it was Gene Segura with errors or whether it was one error specifically, but it was a double play ball that should have been 2 outs. But instead, the inning stayed alive, and the Yankees were able to score a run. And also, by the way, he had to battle Angel Hernandez behind the plate, all right? And you know how he can be sometimes. So he had to face adversity in the first inning. But after that, he was dialed in, focused, ready to rock and roll, and put it right behind him. He put that first inning right behind him, and he was able to cruise. He gave you 6 innings, and, you kind of laugh like, hey, should have you went the 7th? I know it was a blowout at that time. It was 11-3 by that point, but knowing this bullpen, you make that joke, and realistically, as I stated, there was a problem with that bullpen when you went to that Austin Davis move. But we'll get to that. The Phillies were down 3-0. There was one mistake by Zack Wheeler. He left an 0-2 pitch for Gardner to rock out of the ballpark. So the Phillies were down 3-0 to that Yankees lineup. For them to battle back, that's tremendous. And it all started with Bryce Harper, who hit an 0-2 count bomb of his own to make the game 3-2. And I love the fact that Bryce Harper stepped up in that big moment and said, hold on, fellas, hold on. Now, Hap, he had a horrendous game, all right? He walked 6 in 3 innings. It was not his night. But Bryce Harper was able to deliver when this team was down in the dumps and down 3-0 to a squad like that. You go down like that to a Yankees team when you're talking about this Philly squad, knowing that they're realistically going to be able to pound more runs throughout the game because because it was so early, it's a little killing of the mood. No doubt, it kills the mood. But for Bryce Harper to step up, tremendous. Not only that, you had Phil Gosselin with bases loaded with a beautiful walk. No one can walk like Phil Gosselin walks. Not only that, he was able to get a hit on the day as well. Let's talk about Phil Gosselin. Everything he does, it's just hilarious to me. I love this Phil Gosselin ride that we're on right now. But he walked, and that tied the baseball game. Roman Quinn with the speed. He broke up a double play, but that allowed a run to score to actually give the Phillies a 4-3 lead. So in the third inning, they were able to do some damage. JT Realmuto home runs. That makes it 5-3. Then they kept pounding runs in. Sixth inning, bases loaded. This is big. Another 0-2 count. That was the big part of this game, apparently. 0-2 counts. But Rhys Hoskins, 0-2 count, bases loaded. He was able to put the ball in play and score some runs. And right now, Rhys needs everything he can get. He needs all the confidence he can get. Earlier in the game, he had a sequence where there was a pitch right there for him to murder. And he swung and missed. And it was ugly, and I'm thinking, come on, Rhys, come on. And luckily, he made up for it in that bases-juiced opportunity. So good for Rhys Hoskins. Hopefully, this is something for him to build off of, because there's no doubt about it. He needs to build off of that, and he needs to find his game, because I'm getting sick and tired of him. 0-2 count, good for him. Okay. The Yankees had some errors in the field, which was pretty hilarious, trying to go home with some plays. Catcher misses the ball. Here comes more runs. It's 11-3. I get going to the bullpen. But here comes Austin Davis. Guy can't do a damn thing. Allows home run. Bang. Here comes the score. 11-7 at this point. More guys are on base. And there was a pitch this close going out of the yard, but it just went foul. It could have been 11-10. Oh, can you imagine? And of course, Aaron Judge had to hit the bomb. In case you were wondering on who was able to do that, as if you have to question who can do that in this Yankees lineup, but in case you were, Aaron Judge was able to deliver. It's just crazy. But they got away with one. The Phillies snuck away with one. They used Kelly after Davis, and then they used Hector Neris for one pitch. And that was the difference in what we had to utilize in that second game of the doubleheader. Because keep in mind, it's not just the one pitch, of course. You got to think about all the warm-up pitches. But, the way I see it, you should still be able to go in game 2. All right, you throw one pitch, you should be able to go in game 2. That's just my personal opinion. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear the warm-up. I know that's what baseball people use, the analytics, the pitch counts, and things like that. Stop it. You threw one pitch. You're telling me you couldn't execute in the top of the 7th in game 2? My ass. Now, Wheeler's night. 6 innings, 87 pitches, 2 earned runs. He's had 2 starts to this point, and he's been flat out tremendous. That is what you needed. I remember the overreaction when Wheeler signed here. This guy stinks. Look what he did with the Mets. He's awful. He has bad games all the time. He's only good in the second half. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that he's some Cy Young Award guy and he's some lethal weapon every single time, but if he gives you nights like this, then you can take that any day of the week. But the Phillies did escape, because the 7 innings, if you had to continue to go down the line in the bullpen, it would have been miserable. I mean, if this was a 9-inning game, then this is a totally different outcome. And then you can argue, though, that maybe Zack Wheeler goes an extra inning, or you use somebody else in the bullpen instead of Austin Davis. I mean, I don't know. Maybe things played out differently, but the track that it was going down, the path that it was going down, no doubt the Yankees were going to come back and win that baseball game. And that's why I think this is fluky and odd and stupid to make them 7-inning doubleheaders. I am so against it. It's changing the game too much. It's totally making this season fluky, but at this point, I guess you can argue, what the hell is not fluky? The Miami Marlins are totally destroying the league right now, if you will, with a 5-1 record and having a great win percentage, which might get them get them in the division lead and win the division. Who the hell knows? Oh, I can't believe that's real. I'll tell you what, in game 1, though, what I liked, hustle. You saw hustle. You saw guys busting down the line. You saw players working hard. You saw players giving it 150% out there on the diamond, and that is totally beautiful, without a doubt. Something you didn't really see too much in the Gabe Kapler era. You did see it in this baseball game, whether it was Gene Segura running down the line, Roman Quinn running down the line, guys just hustling as hard as they possibly could. There was one play, though, that I really liked out of Gene Segura. Like, I understand he had a bad error in the first inning, and he also had an uglier at-bat early in the game. But there was a play where he's playing shortstop, the ball goes up, infield, pop up, he catches it, and the communication by the team, a lot of the beat reporters were talking about the communication on this play, a lot of chatter, a lot of talk, a lot of speaking to one another. Gene Segura caught the ball, gunned out whoever didn't tag up at first base, and got him out for a nice big double play, and that was a crucial part of that game. That was a difference maker. That was a momentum changer because the Phillies came out and did their thing. That was in the fourth inning, and in the fifth inning is when the Phillies and JT Realmuto hit the home run to make it a 5-3 lead. So that was a big play. But just to hear the communication, the talk, without the fans, the reporters could hear all the chatter. That's a big thing, no doubt about it. Being on your toes, making sure you're talking, making sure everybody on the field knows the proper play. That's being engaged. That's being locked in. That's a takeaway, without a doubt. So the Phillies win the first game. It ends up being 11-7, even though it was a game the Phillies should have won 11-3. No doubt. Transitioning to game 2. Aaron Nola showed 2018 Aaron Nola. And to be honest with you, we haven't seen it to that extent in a long time. The 12 strikeouts, it was magnificent. This was a dominating performance. This was elite Aaron Nola. And we just don't see this consistently anymore like we did in 2018. But magnificent is the word to describe it. The swing and misses, it tastes so good. It tastes so good. Watching the off-speed pitches being executed perfectly. Watching the two-seamer just beautifully hit the back door of the strike zone. These guys had no clue what to do. He did leave one to Voit, who literally crushed it, murdered it, to give the Yankees a 1-0 lead. But just like in Game 1, the Phillies bounced back. And it's funny that the people who were involved in this bounce back, Neil Walker, and that's right, Andrew Knapp to tie the baseball game back up. Here's what bothers me about the offense, though, in the second game. Where the hell was it? Where the hell was it? It was just quiet as hell. When they did have an opportunity with runners in scoring position, it didn't go anywhere. They weren't able to do anything with it besides the one run. They had 3 hits total on the night. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. So you got to be able to do better than that against a bullpen. This was a bullpen game. You have to win those games. You have to win when Aaron Nola's on the mound. That's reality. It's like the DeGrom effect, if you will. When DeGrom's on the bump, it seems like the Mets can never get the guy a win. Well, when Aaron Nola's on the bump, they have to find a way to get this man a win. You need to be winning when Aaron Nola's on the mound because it's that much harder to win when Arrieta, Eflin, Velasquez, and anybody else is on the mound. And let me throw this at you. Isn't it crazy to think that a team like the Yankees can have a bullpen game and actually win? Imagine if the Philadelphia Phillies had to go through a bullpen game. It would be 16-0 in the first inning with 2 outs, maybe even 1 out. It would never work. You could never do it. This is a major issue. So Joe Girardi, I think, has made a bunch of mistakes since he's been here. We've been through it. Putting in Rosso in certain situations. Using weird bullpen guys. Reggie McClain. Like, why are you using these players? Well, we went with Tommy Hunter in this one. The other one that was heavily criticized was going to Cole Irvin for a stretch of time. What are you doing? And not pulling guys out when they struggle. What are you doing? I don't get not going back with Aaron Nola. He went with the player safety card. The dude is dealing. The dude is legit. The guys on the other team have no clue how to hit this man. They're thinking, whose man is this? And Aaron Nola is on another level. Let the guy go. He's at 88 pitches. He's at 88. He's not at 100. He's not at 97. He's at 88. He could have went 7. And the moment he left the game, we all knew. We all understood what was going to happen, and it happened so quickly. I'll give some props to Adam Morgan, who came in after Tommy Hunter and made it 3-1. Kept it 3-1, I should say. It could have been way worse. But you gotta do better. You gotta keep Aaron Nola out there. Tommy Hunter, like, these are your veteran guys that you could rely on. And I'm using air quotes when relying on, because that just shows you how crap this full bullpen is. But who signed off on this bullpen? This is the most interesting question, I think, of all time. Of all time. It's a little aggressive, but of this Phillies team. Whose fault is it? Matt Klentak's or John Middleton? Did John Middleton sign off on this bullpen? Did John Middleton tell Matt Klentak he's not allowed to spend more money? Whose fault is this? Is it both of their faults? It's a mystery. By the way, Bryce Harper looked like he left the first game with some sort of discomfort, and I got nervous. Thinking, you got to be kidding me. Bryce Harper leaving the game? He was good for game 2. It's a Philly guy, if I've ever seen one. How about that? We want Philly guys here. You got a nice Philly guy playing through some injury. But I will say, even though I'm kind of joking around and being a Joe here, that's the type of stuff that creates energy in the locker room, in the clubhouse. That's the type of stuff that the boys rally around. They look at Bryce Harper, who's playing through some pain. It's like, all right, Bryce. All right, I see you. I'll see you. I'm going to work my ass off now because you're giving it all you got. It's just a snowball effect. I love it. There's no doubt that Bryce plays with all the energy in the world and gives it everything he has every time he's on the damn field. And I love it, and I think that rubs off to the rest of the fellas, without a doubt. Why did they go to Tommy Hunter? Why didn't they put Hector Neris in? The man threw one pitch. Please tell me why you can't go to that. Why can't you go to a Hector Neris who threw one pitch? See, here's the thing. If they did stick with Nola and he got through the 7th, it's still a 1-1 game. Eventually, you got to go to that bullpen. So unless the Phillies offense was going to step up at some point, they were essentially screwed. And I get that. It wasn't as if the Phillies were winning in the 7th. It was a tied ball game. So at some point, Nola was going to get yanked. He realistically, if he did go out, only had one more inning in him. So at some point, you would have to go to a bullpen. The offense stunk. And I'm watching Andrew McCutchen pinch hit, and I'm thinking, what is this? It wasn't as if he had a beautiful game in Game 1. I'm watching Scott Kingery up the bat. I'm thinking, ugh. Even the bottom of the 7th. Did I say 9th? I don't even know if I said 9th, but I meant 7th. The last inning. The last inning of this doubleheader. I don't know if I said 9th or not. I could just be going crazy at this point. But regardless, you get my point. That last inning of the doubleheader. You got crap at bats. No shot to do anything. They look somewhat defeated mentally. And you got to think, like, these players, these everyday players, I know they didn't really have the offensive power today. But in general, it's got to be tough to know that once that bullpen comes out, you're destroyed. You're done. I mean, you actually have 0% chance. Even bad bullpens can get by and can get through some games. Like, some games you can get by with a bad bullpen. This bullpen, you can't get by anything. And that's a problem. We knew it was going to suck. It sucks to a whole different level. This could arguably be the worst bullpen ever assembled in the history of Major League Baseball. This is just flat out disturbing. We thought Gabe Kapler didn't have a lot to work with. This is to a whole nother level. And that's not to give Joe Girardi a free pass, because at this point, I've seen enough moves out of Joe Girardi where I think, what the hell are you doing, man? And I'm not sitting here, once again, I know I said this before, I'm not saying fire Joe Girardi by any means. Showing frustration towards certain people doesn't automatically mean I want them out of town. But I am frustrated with some things that I saw out of Joe Girardi. It seems as if they value getting players a pitch count, getting players certain time over winning. And you got to find a better balance. I'm not saying player safety is not important. You want to make sure that their arms are properly being utilized. I get all that. This is a wonky season. No spring training or half of a spring training, then you're put on hold. I get it, man. I really do. But you got to value winning at the same time. And a move like today almost seemed like winning wasn't valued. And I've said this recently. So now this seems to be a common theme. I want to win baseball games. And then they had a chance. They had a chance. Imagine the feeling of, wow, the Phillies took 2 against the Yankees in one day? It would take a lot less stress off tomorrow's game. And they possibly could have won 3 or 4 if that was the case. And if they split tomorrow, by all means, I'm satisfied against the Yankees. I said I'd be satisfied with 1, which is crazy, but it's reality because I know the difference in talent. But it just would have been a better day, and I thought it was there, and that's the thing. I thought it was there. If it wasn't there, it's a different story. If it's like game 1 of the series where they lose 6-3 and the Phillies were never really in reach or was never really in play, different story. But you got to win with Aaron Nola on the bump. It's just that simple. I wanted to see Nola dice up this lineup, and I think he did just that. 12 Ks in 6 innings. Ew. Aaron Judge couldn't do it. One thing I want to end on here. I was watching an Aaron Rodriguez clip on Twitter when he was doing the commentating for the Yankees game, and Aaron Judge hit a dong, and he goes, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Tiger Woods, Aaron Judge. Bruh. Aaron Judge is not on that level yet. No disrespect to Aaron Judge. Fun player, exciting, entertaining. He ain't those guys. And that's just ridiculous. I could argue that A-Rod should be fired for that type of statement. But I digress. Philly split. Could have been better. The bullpen woes continue to be the problem, the huge problem, the obnoxiously large problem. And I don't see a way to fix it. You can't just fix this. This is what they are. This is what they have. You can't fix this. How do you fix this? They're not just going to magically play better. This is an issue. It's going to be an issue for the rest of the season. And that's just facts. So thank you so much for listening. Remember that this episode is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. They are home to your solar experts. They also provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. Their information is in the description. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.